Hey, what's going on, you guys? My name is Rayge, and we are back today with an Escape from Kyln walkthrough guide in terms of all the different teams that we will be seeing for each of the different cells. But as well, we're going to be breaking down, which recommendation we're going to be taking a look at, because previously, before when I went through this game mode, I was only able to achieve, I think cell 33 or 34, whichever was the highest for using the Herald Tech. Now that we have the confirmed characters and teams now, I do want to revisit my strategy because I'm hoping I can at least reach the cell 40 this time. Not really sure if I'm going to go beyond that, just because you're going to have to ultimately assess whether or not you want to bring in gear tier 18 characters, ultimately to unlock that diamond for Gwenum as the reward here. So guys, having said that, let's get right to it. First and foremost, as a background and context for this event mode, if you guys have never participated before, Escape from Kyln is going to be a 46 total cells, 6 additional new cells on top of the previous run event. Now, it's really cool because it's very similar to what we've seen in the past with Source Satellite and as well as Avengers Tower. Difference is that we can actually only use 3 character max for each of the team combinations that we have. Each cell does have a different requirement, and the good news is that it runs very similarly to the Legendary Horseman Scourges and Trial events, where there's not a cooldown period for each character after battle, so as long as they survived. On top of that, health and abilities do persist per battle, so that means that if you maintain the turn and the ability energy generated from each character, they're going to be able to keep that going forward into the next level. However, characters can't be healed between battles, so you do have to manage that as well. If someone falls during battle, then you may not be able to bring them into the next cell if there is the similar trait requirement. So you definitely want to be mindful of that, managing it almost kind of like how you would typically in, again, those legendary trials or Scourge events. Restarting a run, however, is going to drop you down to 4-1. So if you don't like the progress that you're seeing, well, guess what? You can reset that and you can actually participate and push forward once again with a new battle plan and strategy. Now, compared to last time, it does look like that players are actually getting an opportunity to participate in this event at level 60. Before, we decided at level 65, so it's great to see that welcome addition here. Just opening the floor here for more players to be participating in this end game kind of mode. And again, having that reward of a Diamond Gwenum is pretty enticing if you guys are trying to build up this raid team. However, again, you need to reassess if you want to bring up gear tier 18 characters, especially for those final 6 cells that we will be going over. Now, let's start to talk about what the cells are, guys, and as well the team level requirements that you're going to be looking to participate in, and what's going to be feasible, especially for you folks that are new to the game or even those transitioning from mid-game to end-game. We're going to be deep diving all that. So, first 19 cells are listed right here. Cells 1 to 4 does not have any restrictions. 5 to 7 is Guardian or Infinity Watch. 8 to 10 is Avengers. 11 to 13 being Global Skill. 14 to 16 being City Mystic. And then finally 17 and 19 being as Guardians. Now, for the first 4 cells, they're super easy. Take advantage of these 4 cells to prep characters that you will be using later on. I highlighted Val here as an example because Val takes so much energy to utilize her ultimate ability. So this is a good opportunity to do that, because as you'll see later on for cells 17 and 19, having Val ultimate right from the get-go is pretty meaningful, and especially getting through that kind of initial bottleneck, but before you get into the harder cell difficulties. Having said that, from cells 5 to 7, which consists of the Guardian or Infinity Watch, pretty straightforward. The enemies are only 35k TCP. You should be able to walk through them easily if you have even, gear tier 12 or gear tier 13 characters. 8 to 16, 35 to 83k TCP enemies. You won't have an issue with this because Avenger, Global Skill, and City Mystic are such broad tags. You're going to have a versatility of many different characters and teams, so I don't want to spend too much time talking about that. And then finally, for the Asgardian mixture here, typically I found that with the Bifrost team, they really shine here. In my past videos I've made, and I'll redo this, by the way, guys, as the event comes live here, but in the past, I used Val, Beta Ray Bill, and then synergized either Loki or Sylvie. They all got the job done, and the good news was that the only one you really need to truly be building is Val, just because she's going to have that value later on anyways in Dark Dimension, but being a Bifrost core member, just to be able to participate in the Incursion 2 raids. So cells 119, very straightforward. Many people newer to the game, as well as those in the mid game, should easily crush these nodes. Now we're going to elevate this a little bit higher now, because cells 20 to 29 is going to be what separates from more of a broader roster in terms of having some quality characters, especially since we start seeing some of these cells having gear tier requirements. So cells 20 and 22 is Spider-Verse tech or Spider-Verse skill at gear tier 15. So this is a big nod, obviously, here, as we can see. If you have characters like Sinister Six, Green Goblin Classic, Doc Ock, Vulture, Mysterio, Kraven are the ones I used before. They work really, really good. The enemies you're going to be up against are 190k each, or give or take around there. So gear tier 15 does make the most sense for this retirement. I think Spider Society is going to have amazing value here, just because we'll likely be needing them later on if you're trying to push all the way to the very end of this event. Cells 23 to 24 consist of global mystic characters at gear tier 15. So this one's another broad tag, but characters like Morgan Le Fay, Agatha Harkness, Doctor Doom, Quicksilver, and Spider-Weaver can absolutely shine. And again, similar to the previous cells, you are going to be needing that at gear tier 15. Cell 25 is the exception, where you have to elevate these characters to gear tier 16. But again, if you're going to bring in Morgan, though, make sure you have Agatha, because she's going to get the assisted attacks. And there's just so many good characters in this mixture. You likely will not have an issue, especially with them being some of the Horseman teams. Cells 26, 28 require villain mutants at gear tier 16. So again, we're kind of elevating our quality of our roster characters, but villain mutants are really, really good. We have characters like Apocalypse, Omega Red, Archangel, Dark Beast, Nemesis. So you likely won't have any issues there. And especially with the villain mutants being some of the more prominent members. Now, I will say this though, having Apocalypse is definitely a luxury, but not impossible to achieve in terms of just getting through. You only have, characters like Omega Red or even some of the Death Seed members. Definitely still feasible. Each enemy is around 190k a piece. And then finally, to round out this mediocre to difficult range, we have Hero Tech characters at gear tier 16. This one's a big nod to the Pegasus team. Each enemy is going to be around that 200k plus mark. That's kind of like what I would recommend in terms of Pegasus. However, last time I didn't actually have my Pegasus team built up. I did bring in Big Time Spider-Man and Shuri. They got the job done. Were able to push me further, but where it's going to separate you now is then the next cells, which actually require your Hero Tech at gear tier 17. So that cells 30 to 31. I think this is kind of where I stopped before, guys. So at this point, the enemies are going to be elevating to 250k a piece. Gear tier 17 is a big luxury. It's a big investment if you want to bring in some of these Pegasus members. I am going to be able to bring in my full Pegasus this time, just because I have built them up for Incursion 2.3. So that's what I recommend, guys. Personally, Kestrel is a must-have. Rescue with the revive is huge. And then you can pretty much pick and choose which Pegasus member you want to bring in. But I've seen it, having success there with Iron Man, and as well as Darkhawk, both being really good options. Next up, we have cells 32 to 34 requiring X-Men at gear tier 17. So this one is a no-brainer. Bringing Extreme X-Men is going to be likely the case. Gambit and Nightcrawler being very, very important pieces. We have Rogue also being that legendary horseman. So I think this one's going to be a breeze. I personally did not have a chance to try this last time, so I'm definitely going to be documenting this for you guys along the way. But I think they're going to be obviously the no-brainers. If you have characters like Phoenix, like for myself, I brought in Phoenix for Dark Dimension 6. I can use her as a sack round, so that's going to be definitely a good opportunity. Cells 35 to 37 is legendary at gear tier 18. So I think at this point, this is going to be the big separator of whether or not folks have already participated or started in Dark Dimension 6 and have had success in there, because gear tier 18 is a very, very big investment, and that means these are characters that you've either already brought into Dark Dimension 6 or you've thought about and are fully invested, right? So Black Cat, Nova, Green Goblin Classic, Morgan Le Fay, Red Hulk, Rogue, they're all the ones that are the strongest standouts in this range. If you have this variety here of this grouping, you're not going to have issues getting through it. Now, where I think it will be quite difficult is cells 38 to 40, because with this, there's going to be villain bio characters and the usage of Undying. But to be honest, the Undying tag is kind of a luxury here, right? Because at the end of the day, if you are at the very end here, the most powerful villain bio character is Super Skrull. You're going to have a chance here to bring in Zombie Iron Man, Zombie Jugs. We also get characters like Moonstone, Titania, Abomination, and as well, if you're just interested in an Incursion raid team, well, Carnage and Venom are also strong options. So there's just so much variety here that I don't think this is going to be a concern. It likely is going to be where I probably will assess at the end of the day if it makes sense for me to bring up some of these characters to finish this. I'm also hoping that this is where the one diamond of Gwendolyn is going to land, because the next 6 cells are definitely where I'm probably going to stop because of the additional investment in gear tier 18. So guys, what I'm referring to is cells 41 to 46, right? Cells 41 to 43 is going to need Spider-Verse skill characters at gear tier 18. So obviously it's a really, really big nod to Spider Society, but thankfully we do have characters like Black Cat and Kraven also being in this mix. So I'm wondering if maybe they can get the job done here. If so, then that means I would only need to invest in one other character for this team to work. So I'll definitely keep you guys up to date if I see that it's feasible. And then finally, we have cells 44 to 46 being Cabal or Underworld Gear Tier 18. But really, it's ultimately going to be the Cabal show, right? You could potentially, you might need Underworld as a sack team. That would be absolutely terrible, but Cabal is basically the answer. And if you guys are fully invested in this team already for Cosmic Crucible, you're going to get some amazing value out of this. But this is likely where the 3 diamond of Gwenum is going to land for the reward. So something to be mindful of, is the 3 diamond of Gwenum worth it for Gear Tier 18? You know, obviously a mixture here of the newest Cosmic Crucible team. They're a really good team, by the way, but it's just whether or not you want to have that investment already beforehand, especially if you already completed Dark Dimension 6. And it's a big investment, right, for sure. But they're a really good team, guys. So if that's a game mode that you want to prioritize in, at the end of the day, to each their own. So there you guys have it, guys. At the end of the day, I always like to just assess, you know, what are the ultimate rewards at the end, right? So cost benefit of the investment, that's really what you got to make that assessment on. Cells 1 to 16 likely going to be very possible for newer to mid game, as I saw previously before. 17 to 29 is where many of the end game folks, mid game folks are likely going to end up, like myself. 30 to 40 is the end game with ready and built up roster. So this is where I'm going to be aiming for this time around, because last time I ended around cells 30. And then finally, cell 41 to 46 is cost reward of the extra investment for the diamond. This is going to be probably where all the diamond rewards will be, but we'll see once those milestones are listed out for our review, obviously. But yeah, this is going to be a really fun event at the, you know, that we always want to take advantage of, guys. So, you know, regardless of the diamond reward, it's always fun to just have this new content being in the game, and it's challenging and competitive. So I'm definitely looking forward to making that content for you guys. So hopefully this helps you guys out. Thank you for your time as always. Let me know anything in the comments below, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.